Hello guys, welcome to Ferdinand tutorials. Now in this video, we'll be going way back to SIWES. Do you remember what SIWES is? Student Industrial Work Experience Scheme. So we'll try as much as possible to look at everything about SIWES, and then we'll also look at undergraduate seminar. Now the first thing we'll look at here is SIWES report writing. Now SIWES report writing, I will try as much as possible to teach you how to prepare your report on your own. That's after your IT. How do you prepare your report? How do you present it? How do you type it? What are the foundations of writing it so that you can actually get a good mark? And the next thing here is SIWES slides preparation. Now I will teach you how to prepare your slides. Remember that after you submitted your report, you try as much as possible to defend your IT. And for you to defend your IT, you need to prepare a slide. So I will teach you how to prepare your slides, the maximum slide you should have for you to actually present properly, and how to prepare the whole stuff. Are we together now? Now, we also look at SIWES slides presentation. Just as I've said, you don't just prepare. I'll teach you how to present. I did well during my time, so I'll give you some of my tips and experience. Now, we also look at final year seminar presentation. Of course, when you are done with your IT, they will give you a topic. Say, okay, go and write a particular research work on this. So how do you write that research work? How do you present it? Are we together? So I will teach you how to present your seminar. Are we together? We also talk about how to present your slides. You understand how to prepare that slide. That's when we say final year seminar slides preparation. All these are what we'll be looking at in this video. So I want to take you to my computer. So I want you to sit tight and wait till the end. Now let's go to preparation of your SIWES slides. Now the first one is your title page where you write the name of your institution, Imo State University, the address, and then you look at Student Industrial Work Experience Scheme, that's SIWES undertaking. You look at you add the name of the company, and then the address you put your name, submitted to the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Department of Microbiology, put the department under the faculty, and then you usually write the month and the year, not the month and the year when you printed it, but the month and the year that you'll be submitting it. Are we together now? So this was done in this particular year, November 2022. Now when you are done with this title page, now the next thing you will look at is you try as much as possible to look at the organogram, organogram of the company that you did your industrial training. This is not actually compulsory. Why this was added here is so that we can identify the section where this particular individual did his or her IT. So for this particular individual now, she graduated from biochemistry department. So this is actually where she was posted under production pharmacist. So under a microbiology student can work as a microbiologist here under a microbiologist. A chemistry student can work under a chemist here. Are you getting it? Like on a subsection of the quality control, we have chemist and then microbiologist. So biochemistry can also work here, can also work here. I don't know if you're getting what I'm saying. So after organogram, now you show some pictures. This particular person that added pictures here, you can decide to add your picture as second to last. It's not really that important. The position of your picture don't really matter. One of the importance of adding picture is just so that you can show that you actually did your training. I don't know if that makes sense. So that is that. Now the next thing here that you look at is we start looking at the topic, because when we're talking about defense is more like, okay, I did this thing in a particular organization. Maybe I did my training in a brewery, I did my training in maybe food industry. So I should be able to get out a particular stuff that I did, maybe how to prepare gala, how to manufacture yogurt. I should be able to get out one thing and then defend on it, to show that I'm actually skilled. I understood what I did, while I was doing my training. So for this individual now, she was asked to, defend a particular topic on what she did. So she actually chose OB clause, right? OB clause is more like a brand of ampiclos, right? So this company, A&J Pharmaceutical, so when they were producing this, they don't call it ampiclos, they call it OB clause, because if you call it ampiclos, is you're actually trying to steal another person's idea. So they call it OB clause. So she talked about OB clause capsule 500, a brand of ampiclos, as you can see here, consists of two active ingredients, chloracillin sodium, ampicillin trihydrate. So she tried to introduce the drug as much as possible, and then she looked at other materials known as excipients and inactive ingredients. That's how it was produced. Now remember that as a biochemistry student or microbiology, You should be able to understand that, okay, when I'm defending a particular topic, I should look at the relationship of that topic to my course of study. Like for instance, about chemist, my job is not to, come here and then tell you this drug is produced, this, and then at the end of the day, I added 2 milligram of this to form this. No, that's not my job as a biochemist. My job as a biochemist is, since I have a particular drug, I should be able to know what is the biochemical role, like what is the role of this drug biochemically in the body of a living organism. What is the pharmacodynamics, pharmacokinetics of this particular drug? How does it produce its effect? And then material used in production of this ubiquitous capsule. Ubiquitous capsule. So these are the materials: chlorzacillin, cornstarch. This cornstarch, you also use it in manufacturing paracetamol. So, all these are the materials. So we go on to, now this is where the biochemistry starts. Mode of action, adverse effect. Are we together? That's mechanism of action and then side effect. This is biochemistry. If your defense is, generally they usually give you, your defense for 5 minutes. You should spend at least 3 minutes here as a biochemistry student, because you need to give your supervisor what they need. I don't know if that makes sense. You need to try as much as possible to tell them that, okay, I know what I'm doing. I didn't just go there because every other person went there. I knew that this was what I needed. So I went and I understood, the concept. So you should be able to understand, what your supervisors need. But generally, what they want to do is that they want to understand. They want to see you show that you actually went for your training. Are we together? Now, beyond seeing you show that you actually went for your training, seeing you, show the understanding of what you did. Like this particular, slide here now. Mode of action, you try to talk about beta-lactam antibiotic, bind to the PG layer, binding, prevent, all these things. And then it says ultimately results in bacterial cell death. Are we there now? So this is what happens in the body. When I take antibiotics, it kills bacteria. This is the final process. So these are what happens. These are the processes that happen. Now, if there is a way as a biochemistry student or microbiology student, if there is a way that you can try as much as possible to, focus more on what your course requires. For microbiology, what they are looking at is what is the interaction between this drug and microorganism. Are we together? So you need to understand the concept of what you're doing. So when you are done with this place, all these things are really not completely necessary. Are we there now? Manufacture procedure, they are not necessary, but you can decide to put them just in case. And then disintegration analysis, this is also important. Now, in a nutshell, these are the slides, and then you conclude. Are we together now? So this is another place that you can maybe take 1 minute to explain. I told you 3 minutes under mechanism of action, 1 minute introducing the work you want to present, and then 1 minute in conclusion. You are done. Are we there? So you conclude with your work. Tell them this is what you did, and this particular industry, they allowed you to learn all this. So you think it was a good exposure to you. You learned a lot, so you thank the IT personnel and all that, right? So, and then you say thank you. We're done. That's how to defend your slide. Prepare your slide. It's not a big deal. Are we together? So I want you to understand that your slide should not be more than 10. Now, if you look at this slide, I want to show you something. This is important. This is also important. This picture can come, second to the last. This is a case study. You introduce your topic. Materials, you might not decide to add this one as a biochemistry student. Nobody's asking you of this. This is, where the energy should be put into. You don't really need this particular slide, this manufacturing procedure. Over there, you can add disintegration analysis. So make your slide to be as short as possible. Make it to be maybe from 7 slides to maybe 9. Don't allow your slide to be up to 10. Are we together now? So focus on it. And also, don't let your slide, this slide is not notes. It's not where you come and copy everything and then impute. It's just to shorten the point. Slide is more like trying to help you to remember what you know. It's not a note where you come and then you be reading it to your supervisor. Otherwise, they will chase you out. I hope that makes sense. Okay, just as promised, I told you I'll be teaching you how to prepare your final year seminar presentation and also how to present it. 2 important stuff we want to do here. This was my seminar topic, a seminar presentation on the molecular mechanism of depression. You know what depression is, right? By Ugochukwu Kingsley. This is my actually my seminar presentation that I defended when I was an undergraduate. It was defended on December 2022, presented to the Department of Biochemistry, Faculty of Biological Sciences, Imo State University, Owerri, in partial fulfillment of the course BCM 491. So, first off, during our time, what we did was they gave us, say, we'll be doing seminar during this period. So we tried as much as possible to go online, get up to 3 or 4 topics, seminar topics. If you don't know anyone, I have a particular video on my channel where I talked about seminar. So you can go and watch them and see some of the seminar topics that I suggested you can choose. Maybe if you are, trying to prepare a seminar. So I went online, I browsed about it was so tedious. So I got about 3 seminar topics and then I gave it to my lecturer. So she told me that no, that she would choose one from it. So she chose this molecular mechanism of depression, which was among the 3 topics I submitted to her. So this is it. So in preparation of my slides, already this is the first topic, the first page, which is title page. Now the second is the introduction. Now introduction is more like trying to talk about depression. We say that depression is a common disorder which occurs in all genders, ages. This is more like a background story of depression. So I say in this discussion, we'll be learning about the complete molecular mechanism of this common disorder called depression. As a biochemistry student, I've told you earlier, when we are talking about slides preparation and presentation, your energy should be geared towards, the biochemistry aspect. In biochemistry, what we are looking at is what is the role of this in the human body? What is the molecular mechanism? How does it happen? How does the body react to as a result of, the presence of this particular depression or drugs? So, in a nutshell, I want to talk about biochemistry of depression, molecular mechanism, everything about depression biochemically. I don't want to talk about depression was this, it was first seen in this. I don't want that's not it. Are we together now? That's not what I will fill my whole slides with. This is more like an introduction, introduce depression, and then we start the main business, molecular mechanism of depression. And then this is everything I need. So if my presentation is 5 minutes or 4 minutes, I'm going to spend more than half here talking about this. So we see that depression started with stress, and then it goes to cardiovascular risk. It moves to cortisol, to norepinephrine, vasopressin, aldosterone. These are everything about it. And then it comes down to depression. Depression is the last thing. Are we there now? And another depression, if you have depression, you can be suffering from dementia, epilepsy, diabetes, cancer, stroke. So that means in most cases, cancer is individuals suffering from cancer was first, suffering from depression and all that. So I explained everything during my time when explaining this. I explained all the molecular mechanism, everything that brings about depression. Everything here, I explained it. I didn't just show them the picture and then go over. I explained every word you saw here. So, and it was enjoyable. That's what we're talking about. So when you're done, you see this is molecular mechanism of depression. You conclude and everything. So yeah, this is how to prepare your slides. If you look here, it's just 6 slides for my seminar presentation, and I did well. The main thing is make sure that you know what you're doing. Focus your energy where you should focus it on. Are we together? As a biochemist, don't go and be telling us depression started in the year. They are telling us history. No, we are not here to do history. As a biochemist, give us biochemically related concepts. Are we together now? So that's what we are looking at. As a microbiologist, they can ask you to say, okay, interaction of the Saccharomyces in the food we eat. You can focus more on, how is the interaction of this Saccharomyces bacteria? How does it react to the food I eat? Are we together? Food poisoning, food spoilage. What is happening? You should be able, as a microbiology student, be able to identify the concept. Focus more on microbiology, not history, and that is when you do well. So I hope this helps you. Try as much as possible. Also limit your slides. Don't let it get up to 10. You can do 7. You can do 8. You can do 9, depending on the topic that you have been asked to, defend on. Make sure you focus more on your particular course of study. Okay, now let's look at the technical report. Now, if you want to start preparing your report, the first thing that will be present in your report is what we call your title page. Now, this is an example of the title page, a technical report on student industrial training work experience. Now, you put the place the report was carried out. That's the experiment, right? You are trying to report what you did. So, This is the title page. You put your name, put your matriculation number, and partial fulfillment of the award of bachelor's degree submitted to your department, your faculty, and for this one is Abia State University. Now, all these are what we call the preliminaries. You have your dedication, you have your acknowledgement, you have your abstract. Meanwhile, and table of contents, I'm coming there. Now, meanwhile, in your dedication, most of the time, my supervisor then want me not to dedicate my work to God Almighty. That is not an offering, right? So I should try to dedicate it to people that have helped me, maybe my parents, maybe try as much as possible to dedicate it to even the supervisors and all that, or what inspired me to do the work, like if I have any inspiration and all. So, but dedicating it to God is, he said it's not an offering, we shouldn't do it, So this is acknowledgement, you acknowledge, right? Now, and then abstract, as I've said earlier in my previous video on IT and SIWES in generally, it's more like a summary of what you did, right? So this is the abstract. Remember, I was talking about SIWES report now, and this is your table of content. Now, if you look here, you begin to see your title page, your dedication, acknowledgement, abstract, table of content. Now, in all your preliminaries, you don't, give them numbers 1, 2. When you want to assign pages to them, you give them Roman numerals. So, this is chapter 1. Now, in chapter 1 of your SIWES report, it's more like trying to give a brief history. There are two things that are usually in your chapter 1. One is your brief history of SIWES, right? The aim and objective. Why is SIWES, compulsory for every third year student in the university? You give the brief history and then you give us the aims and objective. And then another thing that should be in that chapter 1 is you look at your place of assignment. Try as much as possible to also give us the history of the place where you did your IT. And then, give an organogram. When we're talking about organogram is more like a company structure. How are the bodies, where are the individuals, and which branch do they, stay to perform their operations. So we have every company, standard company, have what we call organogram. So you draw your company's organogram, identify where you, served, and then you look at the product or materials manufactured in that company. That should be your chapter 1. So in chapter 2, majorly what we're looking at is introduction to drugs. Now, since A&J Pharmaceutical is a company that manufactures drug, we must try as much as possible to make sure that we explain everything about drug, about definition of drugs, types of drugs, depressants, stimulants, hallucinogens, and then we look at components of drugs. Now in chapter 3, we focus more on the sections and what they manufacture. We have what we call the paracetamol production, we have vitamin C, Ubimozi. In this chapter 3, this is where I write everything I did, like the production that happens in that particular place. So here now we have production of paracetamol, have dry syrup production, we have production of Ubimozi, production of Ubiclons. So I try as much as possible to write down those sections and how it is being produced. Now in chapter 4 is more like quality control measures. It's also a section in that particular place. Now it is more like a different section. That's after a drug has been manufactured, we try as much as possible to go to the quality control section to test it, to check the authenticity of the drug, to check the presence of microorganisms, to check, if this drug can actually produce a positive effect when consumed by man. So now chapter 5 is usually challenges encountered during the training, my recommendation, conclusion, and reference. Usually your IT should contain 4 to 5 chapters. The most is 5 chapters, the least is 4 chapters. So make sure that it contains all these chapters and try as much as possible to balance everything. And I hope you understood what I said. I've made a video about all these things I've said before. Due to popular demand, I had to remake this video again. So do well to subscribe to this channel if you haven't. It will mean a lot to the brand. And don't forget to share this video with your friends.